So now what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the grading criteria for the course. Oftentimes people want to know, well, how is it that I'm going to go out and get an A? And that's actually one of the ways that we can figure that out is by talking about how it is that I go about grading your assignments. So the grading criteria for the course is as follows. First, we have something called practice assignments. These are assignments that are intended to get you acquainted with the math, to have you do some practice with the problem solving, and also to help you uh, think about the course materials. These are graded, they're done online, and later on I will be showing you where it is that you can find them. Second, participation in discussion boards. Every week you'll have a graded discussion board. This is part of your participation for the course. It's absolutely required and it makes up 10% of your grade. Third, quizzes. There will be 3 graded quizzes throughout the entire semester. They're worth 5% of your grade. Written assignments. They are also worth 5% of your grade. These include our exam reviews, and these are crucial for you to be able to do well on the exams. I give you credit for them and I give you points, but if you do not do these exam reviews and written assignments, you will not do well on the exams and you will not learn the material for the course. So they're absolutely essential. Third, exams 1, 2, and 3 are worth 45% total. That's 15% apiece. And finally, the final exam is worth 20%. So that's the grading criteria for the entire course. If you add it all up, you'll notice it makes up 100%. Okay, the exams are worth approximately the same amount as your homework. Your final exam is worth just a little bit more than a regular exam, and it's going to be a little bit longer, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Next up are our weekly assignments. So every week you're going to have an expected set of weekly assignments. I'm going to talk about the basic ones right now, and so that you can see what they are so that you can expect them as you go throughout the course. First, every week you'll have readings, videos, and be expected to take notes. I'm not grading any of these things, but I would think that it would be very, very difficult to work on the things that are graded and to be able to do the graded discussion boards and also to do well in the exams if you actually aren't doing the readings, you're not watching the videos, and you're not taking notes. These are absolutely required even though they're not being graded. Practice assignments. These are being graded. There's a computer that will give you feedback on these. But basically the feedback that it's going to give you is it's going to tell you whether or not you got the question right or wrong or not. Okay? For each question, you'll get 3 attempts, and then you're going to have to go on to a similar question. What I would recommend is that you try out the question maybe a couple of times, and if you can't get it, then go on to one of our help discussion boards that I'll talk about later in order to get help from me or another student. Okay, you can also go and get help from our tutors or to utilize NetTutor. Or you can use it in order to go back, reread the portion of the text that has to do with that particular kind of problem and see if you can actually get it correct the second or third time. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't attempt to guess on each one of these practice assignment questions. There's only a few of them, but remember like what I said, these problems are designed to have you think about the concepts of the course, and they're not going to be like, can I get this one right? If you go about doing it that way, this is going to be actually very, very difficult, and you're not going to learn what you need to learn as a part of your homework. You'll get it finished, you'll get the points, but it's only 15% of your grade. That's not enough to pass. Graded discussion boards. These are discussion boards that ask you about concepts or ask you to do problems that are, in fact, really important for the particular section that you're working on. These are great for me because they allow me to see how it is that you're doing. I really want to know how you're doing. One of the only ways that we can actually get to communicate is via discussion boards. And so consequently, what I'd like for you to do is to tell me in your best words, or as best as you possibly can, what it is you think about the particular concepts or the particular problems that I'm asking you. That's what the graded discussion board is really for. Okay? You must do the graded discussion boards. If you don't, I actually have the right to drop you from the class. In addition to that, you will lose 10% of your grade, which will make it very hard for you to pass the class. So please do them. They're not idle work. They are important concepts. Okay? These are not, like, tell me what you're thinking kind of things. I mean, I do have that too, but what they really are about is they're really about, do you understand the concepts? Can you communicate the concepts? Because that communication is key. Next up, some occasional assignments that'll come up maybe once every 2 to 4 weeks. The first are our written assignments. We'll have written assignments on doing summary statistics, understanding graphs, where you'll actually be asked to do some writing and be asked to do some explanation. They're designed to help you practice for our exams, where what you are asked to do and what you are required to do is to do some writing. Okay, I'm going to read your writing, so consequently, practice writing about statistics. And that's what those are for. Exam reviews. About approximately every 4 weeks, we have an exam. The exam reviews are going to come up before those exams. All right, they will be the only. They're not the only things that are actually due that week, but you'll have about 3 or 4 days to actually do the exam review before you actually have to go in and do the exam. I would not do the exam review before you actually go in. I would make sure to do the exam review before you go in and take the exam, and to not just look at the answers. The answers are not going to do you that much good. What's really going to do you good is to think about the problems, think about how you're going to go about doing the problems, answering the problems, and then use the answers in order to figure out if you're doing the work correctly. Next up, exams and quizzes. We're going to have 3 quizzes throughout the course. They're on important and critical concepts for the course. I really need to see whether or not you're doing these things well, so what I want you to do is do the best you can on these quizzes. They are open note and open book, although you will only have 2 attempts per quiz allowed, unlike the practice assignments where you have unlimited numbers. They will also be timed, and so consequently what you want to do is you want to study before you actually take the quiz. Okay? Exams. There'll be 3 exams. They're going to be taken at Santa Ana College or at an approved testing center, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. They're at the end of each unit, numbers 1, 2, and 3, and they'll be approximately 1.5 hours each. Before each one of those exams, I'll be giving you a lot of information about what is going to be on the exam. That's actually already written inside of the modules, and so when we look at the modules, you'll see that that's where that's located. Go in, and as you're working on the homework, and as you're working on the practice assignments and on the graded discussion boards, make sure that you're also studying for the exams. It's way better to spend 4 weeks studying for an exam than it is to spend 1. All right? And the truth is that's probably the best use of your time. Finally, the final exam will be 2 hours long. Half of it will be cumulative, and the other half will be on units 3 and 4. And this takes place the final day of class. There will be more instructions on the final exam inside of the exam instructions area, and also as the final exam approaches. I want you to do well on it. It is the department exam, and so consequently, I have specifically developed and designed my class in order to help you do well on this final exam. And this ends the video.